Alright guys, welcome to another beer review, and today we're going back over to Boxcar, and today I need a glass, and today I found a glass, but heaven knows I'm miserable now. Anyway, so we're going back over to Boxcar, and this is from the Raise the Bar box from Beer52, brewed in collaboration with Beer52 over at Brewery, which is over there. How many times will I make that shit joke whenever I point? But yeah, so another sort of like stumpy Belgian-like bottle, and this is the Nelson Sauvin double dry hopped pale, which is brewed with Nelson Sauvin, Citra, Mosaic. Malts are Pilsner, Oats, Flaked Wheat and Kerrygold, and then the yeast is Windsor SO4. 5.6% ABV, Boxcar and Beer52 present a series of beers designed by Boxcar's head brewer and brewed by Brewery, Belgium. Best before 12th of the 7th for 2019. Lovely looking artwork here. And I said in my review of this beer that it reminds you of like digital arts magazine. Do you know what I mean? Like computer arts magazine, sort of. But yeah, lovely contemporary design. Really nice and simple with the typography, and a lovely looking label with a really nice, almost reminds you of a Smartie bottle top. Anyway, let's get this beer opened and see what we get. Dirty glass, professional. Dusty box for a watch, or watch box if you're actually a rational human being, because I am a hashtag professional. Anyway, let's see what we get with this one. So, it's pouring nicely. So this is actually only my second ever beer from Boxcar. The first one being this, which came in the same box. So if you're going to make a display, Peter, actually use the bloody display. There we go. Look at that. Fantastic. Lovely depth of field there. But yeah, lovely sort of golden colour, slightly hazy. Beer poured with about 2 fingers worth of a creamy looking head. Certainly looks lovely. It's got sort of like a slightly darker amber hue, but with some golden tones. But yeah, it looks lovely. So let's see what we get on the nose. Not really getting too much, and in fact it kind of reminds me of that on the nose, not gonna lie. See, I'm not too familiar with the properties of Nelson Sauvin. It's always been a hop that's been used in conjunction with something else, and the potency of the other hop used, or other hops used, tends to take over. But I'm not even like getting any of the, was it Citra Mosaic that's in this? Yeah, I might be getting that sort of like slight dank tropical tone, bruised fruit tone from the Mosaic, but the Nelson Sauvin, I'm not really getting anything in that regard. It smells nice, don't get me wrong, like really nice sort of like stone fruits, a bit of peach in there. It's got like sort of like a slightly caramel malty aroma to it, without it smelling like a malt bomb, of course. But yeah, dank sort of like oniony, garlicky sort of aromas, a little bit savoury. Almost like you've caramelised them in like a brown sugar or something like that. But it smells nice. You can smell like the sweet bitterness on this beer, which I'm really enjoying IPAs that are actually bitter. So it's nice. So, you know, it's a bit of a refreshing change already. Anyway, it smells nice, but not really too pronounced in terms of hoppiness. So we shall see what it tastes like, which is of course the most important thing. Cheers. If I was to describe the hoppiness, it almost has like a slightly wine-like character to it. A little bit grapey almost. There's a little bit of spiciness which might be coming from the Nelson Sauvin. I've got to be honest though, it's not tasting too dissimilar to this one. And I'm not sure how that could be, because not even the yeast strain that they've used is similar. A little bit of pear in there. It's definitely got that stone fruit character. It's not really tropical. It's not really in your face. The bitterness I'm really liking. It's starting off as it goes in, builds up, and then just lingers, almost grows on the back end as well. It's interesting. It's not bad. Those savoury dank tones. It's very dank. It's a very, very dank IPA. But not in that sort of like sticky sort of way or West Coast style. But it's got like a really pronounced dankness. It's a very savoury tasting IPA. And it almost slightly borders into that like classic English IPA. So it's definitely intriguing. It's far from the best that I've had. I'm not going to lie. I'm always honest with these reviews. Is it a bad beer? No, it's still a high quality, tasty beer. But it's not doing too much for me personally. The ABV 5.6%. Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's inoffensive. You know, it's solidly brewed, but it's far from like a fantastic beer. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not disappointed in the classic sense. It's just, it's one of those beers where it's like you're drinking it in a session and you're like, this is just adding to the hangover sort of thing. It's not doing too much. And if you were to put it against other IPAs, well, it's easy to say that about any beer. Do you know what I mean? Putting it against other IPAs. Of course, not every beer is gonna, you know, knock it out the park. I don't expect that. But this isn't doing too much for me, unfortunately. But still, it's solid enough. But it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit average. And for a double dry hopped IPA, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that they've used Nelson Sauvin, which is a hop that I'm clearly, you know, not too well versed with. So always take stuff like that into consideration with my reviews. Just because I might not be liking it doesn't mean that I've got anything against the brewery. It doesn't mean I'm insulting the brewery. It doesn't mean that you should take my word as, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sacred? I know that's not the proper term. But, yeah. What's that word I'm looking for? It's not holy. It's not sacred. But it's in that ballpark. Gospel. There we go. Gospel. Got it. Don't know what that was. But, that really hurt as well. I'm such a fucking beta. I'm getting like a subtle lime character coming through now. I think this is one of those beers that will probably taste a little bit more complex and have a bit more going for it the more it warms up in the glass. Not that this is ice cold, of course. But yeah, like I was saying, in these reviews you should always take it with a pinch of salt. Just because someone rants and raves how much they love a beer does not mean that you're going to enjoy it. There are people who would drink this beer and it's going to blow them away. It's definitely worth having a go. It's introduced me to Boxcar. This is the second beer of theirs that I've tried. I've got a couple more in this Beer52 box, which, by the way, if you want to check out Beer52 for yourself, referral link is down below, and I'm not pointing at my penis. I cannot stress enough that I am not pointing at my penis when I say that. If I were to point at my penis, I would point at my penis and I would explicitly state that I was pointing at my penis. For all you know, I could actually be touching my own penis now. We will never know, unless you look up the Clueless Drinker on some very questionable websites. Disclaimer, I don't actually publish videos on questionable websites. Imagine a pornographic beer review though. How entertaining would that be? It'd definitely be entertaining watching the porn star open the bottle, that's for sure. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit more interesting than the beer. Again, not to bash Boxcar by any stretch. This is only a second beer of theirs, so I can't really form an opinion about the brewery anyway. Even after having the other 2 beers, that's only 4 beers from a whole range of beers that a brewery does. So there will be people who might drink this, not like it, and then write off a brewery like Boxcar. I'm not going to be that person. I will. It doesn't matter if I've had 6 awful beers from a brewery. I will try another beer from them, just to see if there is anything. And I'd like to see what sort of dark beers Boxcar do. It's very. I'm just so glad that the camera cuts off there, because I'm in my boxer shorts and I like have my leg lifted up because I just needed to stretch it. So it was a really weird pose for me to be in, because I had like an itchy toe. Again, I was not touching my penis, for God's sake. I hate that rumour, which doesn't exist. I'm going to end this beer review there because it's absolutely terrible. So I apologise to the folks over at Boxcar, the folks over at Beer52, and the folks over at Brewery, because the last thing you want on a beer review that you potentially share on your social media is a person talking about his own penis, and I don't think that's really going to help BeerTube. It might get the views in, it might get me up to that threshold so I can actually make money for once on reviewing beers online, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to cut this off there. If you tried this beer or any of the other beers from Boxcar or from the Raise the Bar box, which the magazine eludes me once again, here it is, that happened in the first review, then let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. What beers from these guys should I check out? Because I'm definitely open to trying as many beers as I can from as many breweries as I can. And yeah, so in terms of a rating, I'm going to give this, excuse me, you know when you burp and you feel like something came up with it. It's sort of like when someone finds a sacred text, they read it and they don't realise that they've summoned an evil spirit. It was one of those sorts of burps. Why don't I do observational style comedy? Because I'm really good at it, of course. But yeah, so it might seem a little bit harsh, but I'm going to give this beer a 5 out of 10. It's okay. I wouldn't really go out my way to try it again. If I'd probably drink a little bit more beers with specifically Nelson Sauvin as the main hop, then I'd probably be tempted to revisit it. But obviously with this being brewed for the Beer52 box, I'm not too sure if this beer would be rebrewed or revisited in some shape or form. But yeah, as it stands now, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. If that's harsh, let me know. Tell me why it is. I'm always open to discussion, even though I very rarely reply to comments because I'm a terrible human being. But yeah, so if you tried anything from Boxcar, thoughts, recommendations, always appreciated. If you enjoyed this box from Beer52, are you interested in this box from Beer52? My referral link is down below. Check out both the Brewery, Beer52, and of course Brewery. And yeah, if any of my friends and fellow BeerTubers have reviewed this one, then I will put their links down below as well. Anyway, thank you for sitting with me for a 14-minute beer review where I give it a 5 out of 10. It seems cruel and unjust, I know, but yeah, I do just genuinely apologise to the folks at Boxcar if you are watching this travesty of a beer review. And yeah, anyway, check out Boxcar. That's the least I can do. Thanks for watching. And don't touch your penis when you're doing beer reviews because it's not nice. And if you are doing it, don't vocalise it, for God's sake, you dirty people.